Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. So as we all know, Doc Rivers was hired as the head coach for the Philadelphia 76ers. So for today's video, guys, we got a video by Hoops Reference, who, by the way, is a big 76ers fan, with a video titled "The 76ers Might Have Just Made a Huge Mistake," referencing the hiring of Doc Rivers. Guys, my initial thoughts on this hiring was I could not believe how quickly this man got himself another job. Obviously he does have an NBA championship back from the Boston Celtic days, but since then, since that one championship, man, I don't think Doc Rivers, he's kind of like the definition of close but not close enough. He's coached some really good teams, from the CP3, Blake Griffin, Clippers, all the way up to, of course, the current, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Clippers, which, of course, all those teams have under-succeeded. I mean, yeah, you look at the rosters, they're all really good teams. So the fact of the matter that he got a job so quickly, I thought was, I don't know, man, it was something, right? It was definitely something, because there's a lot of great coaches that have been fired that, either never found employment ever again or it took them a really long time. So personally speaking, I wanted them to get Mike D'Antoni as their head coach, because I do think he would have got really crazy with, maybe run like Ben Simmons at center and just surround him with three-point shooters. Joel Embiid probably would have been traded, but, we'll see what Doc Rivers can do. Let's check out Hoops Reference and see what he's got to say about it. What do you guys think of this, Simon? Let me know in the comment section below.
So, some news just broke about a new head coaching hire, and in this case in particular, it's a hire that I have a vested interest in. For those of you that don't follow me on Twitter, where I make this very obvious, I am a Philadelphia 76ers
Big
fan,
76ers
and
fan.
have been my whole life. So the goings-on of the team are things that I pay very close attention to for
He tells it like
reasons.
it is, too.
I try my best to be as objective as possible and not get too high or low on them, but I also pretty much watch every single Sixers game year in and year out, so I feel pretty confident in identifying the team's strengths and weaknesses. The Sixers fired Brett Brown this offseason, and today it got announced that they have hired Doc Rivers to take his place. If you keep up with the channel, you'll see a few days ago that I made a video about the team's interest in Mike D'Antoni as coach, but apparently that fell through once Doc Rivers became available when he got fired.
Where's D'Antoni going to go now,
I'll be giving my honest thoughts on the situation, what could work out well for the team, the areas of concern that I have, as well as why I'm still very much skeptical moving forward as a fan. Before we start though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. To start things off, I'm going to try to be positive about the move because I don't want this entire video to be just me complaining.
Yeah, he's still a veteran coach.
Credit is a very accomplished coach with an NBA championship on his resume, and over the years has led some very strong teams. In 2008, he coached a team that had just brought in two very big names, being Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett, to play alongside Paul Pierce on the Celtics to form a big three. And while every new acquisition and talented tandem looks good on paper, we've seen plenty of examples of times where talent alone doesn't have success because getting that talent to mesh is a difficult task. Not only did he get the team to gel fast, but when the team finished with a record of 66-16 in the regular season, it marked a single biggest turnaround record.
Well, I think the thing about Doc Rivers too is, it's just like when it comes to how he coaches and like his rosters and stuff, he's not one to really get too crazy with it, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. Like when you have like Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, those are I would say Joel Embiid's more of a traditional center. Ben Simmons obviously not a traditional point guard. But I feel like he's gonna utilize those guys in a safe manner, which I don't know if that should really be the case. I feel like he needs to get crazy with the man, but as opposed, like I said, with D'Antoni's not afraid, to go against what everybody else is doing, which also can be a bad thing.
Record-wise
As we
in
seen
NBA
with the
history,
small ball stuff.
which is definitely a testament to his coaching ability and getting everybody on the team to buy in. Having big names come into a new environment and sacrifice individually for the betterment of the team is by no means an easy task, but Doc successfully ran a tight ship that resulted in a championship that year. In the playoffs that season, they eliminated LeBron James's Cleveland Cavalier team that had just made it to the finals the year before, they eliminated a very tough Pistons team in the conference finals, and And then in the finals, they took down Kobe Bryant and the Lakers, which is no small
Pretty damn
task.
impressive stuff going on there,
Another
especially the
positive
Pistons.
regarding Doc Rivers as a coach is that he is very well respected around the NBA, and the players in the locker room have almost always bought into his plan. The Sixers have two extremely talented players leading the way in
He is a
Ben
good
Simmons
vocal
and
leader,
Joel Embiid,
for sure.
and under Brett Brown, many believed he wasn't getting the most out of them. It's also a popular notion that those two struggle to play together, and while I strongly disagree with that and think it very much has to do with the players around them,
Hey, I'm
having a
100%
coach
with
can
that. I've been saying that for a while, too. I don't think Joel and Ben Simmons is the problem. But also, Brett Brown, I don't feel like they got along with him either, did they? So, like, maybe it's just as simple as, you know, just getting a guy in the locker room with a Doc Rivers that, you know, they all just get along and, you know, they kind of work past some of those other, you know, hurdles.
And figure out how
The
to get them
non-basketball
producing at
stuff.
an elite level while working off of each other was obviously another priority for the team in their coaching search, and Doc Rivers is not a bad candidate for this criteria by any means. Doc has coached so many star players in the past, and to name a few, he's had Grant Hill, Tracy McGrady, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, Kawhi Leonard,
How we only
and
got
Paul
one
George.
championship with all
But
those?
This
Is the
is
issue.
where I transition into the aspects of the hire that worry me, because he's not exactly coming off of a very strong showing as a coach. Every NBA fan
For like
knows
the past
that the Clippers
decade.
came into this season with incredibly high expectations, and to put it simply, they failed to live up to the hype. Not only did they fail, but they crumbled harder than any title contender has crumbled in a long time, and it was capped off by the two franchise players Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, the two players that the team invested so much into in the offseason,
Like, literally their
completely
entire
falling
future.
apart in Game 7 against the Denver Nuggets and capping off a choked 3-1 lead in the series. The Clippers this season, at least on paper, were one of the most talented teams in recent memory, and top to bottom were filled with highly capable contributors in any and every kind of role a team could want when they want to win. They had playmaking ball handlers, they had go-to scorers of the highest degree,
Probably the
they
deepest
had
team,
impact
too.
bench players,
Literally
they
the
had
deepest
shooters,
team.
and they had tons of capable and switchable defenders. Yet the one thing that ultimately led to their demise was their lack of team chemistry. The players admitted it after they got eliminated,
Too much
and
load
it was
management.
blatantly obvious to anyone that watched the team that they were often not on the same page and just winging it out there. The players will always get the brunt of the blame when things fall apart like that, and for very good reason, because they are the ones
No, I blame that too on them not getting themselves the leadership of a point guard. Like, Patrick Beverly to me is not a leader. Reggie Jackson, you know, I watch him on the Pistons. He's not really a big time leader. I've been saying, man, they needed to trade for Kyle Lowry. If they would have traded for Kyle Lowry by the trade deadline, they would have won the championship guaranteed.
that were
Guaranteed.
unable to produce on the court when it mattered.
That's what they
but
needed.
It goes without saying that
A guy like
chemistry
that.
issues and lack of a clear game plan can absolutely be pinned on the coach doing a poor job. And ultimately, Doc got fired because he simply did not do a good enough job with a ridiculously talented team like the Clippers were and still are. If this was a one-time thing in Doc's resume, then I honestly wouldn't even care that much, because again, he is a fairly accomplished coach and has been in the business for a long time. However, this is not the first time he's had a team up 3-1 in a series only to go on to lose the series, and it's also not the second time it's happened either. This is the third time a Doc Rivers team has been at the helm of a 3-1
Yep, like,
lead
damn team
and
get
then
too
choked
relaxed.
it away, which is easily the most in NBA history, and at this point it can't be a fluke. The first time it happened came back in 2003 when he was coaching the Orlando Magic, and at the time they were the 8 seed going against the 1-seeded Detroit
I forgot he
Pistons.
coached the Magic.
So if you
Well,
wanted
what'd
to
he
be
say? What'd he say?
optimistic, they were the 8 seed going against the 1-seeded Detroit Pistons. So if you wanted to be optimistic and say they shouldn't have even been up that big in the first place, then I would struggle to disagree. But the next time it occurred was much more egregious. In 2015, he was coaching the Los Angeles Clippers in a second-round series against the Houston Rockets, and after going up 3-1, they once again blew it, this time featuring a historic
Who was on that
collapse
team?
in
Just
Game
Harden?
6, where the Rockets were down by 19 points late in the second
Montrez?
half, and with star James Harden on the bench, the Rockets' bench unit led a comeback to win the game.
Dear
Harden
God.
would bounce back in
Not
Game
great.
7 and play great, and he would help the Rockets finish them off in Game 7, advancing to the conference finals and leaving the Clippers behind. The players definitely do need to play better in these moments when the series is on the line, but a coach is there to make adjustments when things start to go south, and Doc on 3 separate occasions failed to make
And it
any
even feels so weird to say like that, like he gets like out coached in the situations, because like to go up 3-1, like that does come down to not only to skill and talent, but also coaching. So it's like, how can you be up 3-1 and then get out coached so many times? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Just like how relaxed he gets in those situations. I don't really understand it. Like, the logic just doesn't really add up to me, you know?
Adjustments to finish off a series up 3-1. So, with both of those collapses on his resume, in addition to the one that happened this season, Doc's good moments are equally met by bad ones. It's always mentioned how well-liked Doc is across the league and how much respect everyone has for him, which very well might be true, but the NBA is very much a what have you done for me lately league, and Doc's entire tenure with the Clippers hasn't led them to a single conference finals appearance. Yes, injuries have played a part in some of the years where the Clippers fell short, as both CP3 and Blake Griffin have proven to be injury prone, but in years like 2015, injuries cannot be an excuse, and they still couldn't get over the hump under Doc Rivers. Obviously, a lot can change between now and when the season starts, such as potentially substantial roster changes for the Sixers that can make Doc's job easier, but only time will tell whether or not this move will be a good one. I'm hoping I'm wrong about my doubts about Doc as a fan, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a bit pessimistic at the moment. And with that being said, that's all.
Yeah, what do you guys all think, man? Do you like the signing? Or do you think, the 76ers could have done better? I don't think there was a ton of coaches out there. Except D'Antoni would have been interesting, but even D'Antoni has his failures too. So, I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting to see what type of roster changes they make. But, yeah, this one blows up in their face, man. Elton Brand's gonna be gone real quick.